Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hey,
to the panel. Oh, and hi. Hello. Hello, Adam. How are you?
we've just seen each other for the first time. How nice.
What? This is crazy. Here I am with all of my Android friends, ready to have some fun today. If you would like to chat with us or ask us questions, and you cannot do so, wherever you're at watching, hey, Discord down below. There should be a link, and you can join the PAX Online Discord.
Just a little
Shh, Chloe.
longer.
It's too late. We're in the moment.
Hold on.
Gotta let it sink in. Just let it wash over you.
She's just given us feels straight away.
Yeah.
We've been online for 10 seconds.
Hold on.
It's fine.
Just a little
So as I talk over this song,
longer.
you can go Discord, and there we are in Stream 2 Unicorn, and you can chat there as well. We would love to get your feedback and thoughts on stuff we talk about or sing about. We'll find out. Okay. Anyway, hi. My name is Jesse Cox. I am, as you can see, a broadcast jockey. That's the word I'm going to use from now on, and because I love it. And I'm joined today by the lead narrative designer for this lovely game you see before you, Detroit Quantic Dream. Adam.
Well remembered. That was tense for a second.
What did you?
Adam Williams.
What do you think I was gonna say? Like some guy,
Some
somewhere.
English guy who I bumped into on the stream. Apparently he works there. That's what I was expecting. So anything, many more than that, I'm grateful for.
Yes. No, Adam William is the everything that is happening on the screen right now. I found out that Chloe and I, we actually don't have a real connection, and when
It's all been
this
written
game up, it's all things that you wrote, which breaks my heart a little. She asked
me
me
and
how my
David
day
Cage.
was.
I don't want to take all the responsibility. Yeah, so I'm lead writer at Quantic. I work with David on the scripts.
Gotcha. So are you saying that when she asks how my day is, that might actually be David asking how my day is?
So did Chloe ask you how your day was?
Well, yes. Earlier she asked me how my day was. She said she loved my interior design, and more importantly, she asked me, she said, I haven't seen you in a while.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but
Now you see, she is scripted,
decorating.
but we didn't script her to say that.
Your personality.
So that's just, she's gone off script with you. That must be real.
Well,
you must have some kind of special connection that we didn't foresee, because we didn't plan for her to say that.
I felt this. Yeah, I felt like this.
Yeah.
She and I had a thing. Right?
She gets you.
Mm-hmm. Which, it's
I
nice.
never get anything out of her except history facts. So there's something special about you, obviously.
That. I would love a good history fact every now and again. I'm fine with that. I think if one pops up, that would be perfect timing, actually. So today we're going to go through one of the areas of the game, and we're going to have a conversation about everything that went into the process of making it, and then remind you all, hey, you can pick it up on PC right now.
I mean, not only it is on sale, and it's almost a shame we're not doing it today, because there's a special plugin you can use for for broadcast jockeys of very high caliber like yourself, Detroit Community Play, where the community can directly instruct you, or at least vote on what you should be doing as you play along. So it's the perfect time to check it out on PC if you're going to. Now's the time to take it off the wish list and into the basket.
It is a ton of fun if you are a streamer to have people tell you what to do.
Did you know Detroit was on the Underground Railroad? A route for slaves escaping into Canada during the American Civil War?
This is a side of Chloe you never see.
You know what? I'm so happy. We said history fact. It took a minute to load. I saw the little circle.
She took a while to think about it. Yeah, she was thinking of a good one.
An appropriate history fact related to the game, of course.
Yeah.
That's why she's so smart. That's why she's right here. But
that's why she gets the big bucks.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the stream.
It actually is a lot of fun to play with the add-on
community play plugin. Yeah.
Yeah, the plugin's amazing. it will take you down paths you have never been before. Turns out your community, I'm gonna let you in on a secret.
They're not who you think they are.
Yeah, they want chaos. They want absolute chaos.
That's when you know your audience, when you ask them, what should I do next? And they just want to kill fish. That's all they're interested in.
Yeah, it never goes the way you think. It turns out that if you have an option to rob a convenience store, your chat will be like, take them.
It's the Spider-Man meme, you know, where he's mashing the button? Is that.
Yes.
Shoot. That's what you tend to find.
That is exactly what will happen. So just appreciate that it will take you down ways that you don't ever think you want to go down. And you'll see parts of the game that when I played with chat, I saw things that I didn't either remember or that I had never seen when I played, because I was like, I'd never do this choice. So.
Yeah, to be honest, that is the
Jean Genot, a French
so
writer.
like one of the actors in the game, Brian, he has a streaming channel with Amelia, who's also in the game, but his wife, Deca Games. So when they played it with the plugin, even Brian, who had performed all of Connor's lines, was seeing Connor say stuff and being like, "Oh yeah, I didn't remember that he did that," because there's just paths you would never think of taking if you're playing yourself, but the community want to see them. So it's a great little plugin. I do recommend it.
Yeah, I have never. I don't know. As many times as I've played, never been like, I want to see how far I can piss Hank off. I never got. I was like, I don't want to do this.
That's because you're a good person. That's why Chloe feels the way that she does about you. But some of us antagonize Clancy Brown at every opportunity we get because he's so great at acting annoyed.
Yeah, it 100% was scenes that I was like, oh no, y'all, we shouldn't do this. And so it happened, and I was impressed with the way the game handled the fact that like you can kind of win him back, but through not kindness but good detective work.
Yeah, it's really cool that you say that, because that was like David and I were thinking a lot. She's such a. Have you noticed how she likes to steal the scene? Particularly if I'm about to say something, she thinks this needs a lift, and she comes in and starts singing.
She's already, it's too late. It's no matter what we do, she's like,
she's just gonna keep on going. You can't shut her up, really. But yeah, we were thinking, how would you win someone like Hank back? And it wouldn't be by kissing his ass,
right? Because
he's just not. He's the sort of guy who'd have contempt. He'd think you were a simp if you kissed his ass.
Like the relationship, you can see the way there's like 3 levels of a relationship in it, which is sort of like I don't want to say father-son, but that's kind of what it is. Yeah. And then the partner relationship, and then the third one, which is like, I don't like you, you don't like me, and I'm gonna shoot you if I get the chance. Yeah, and I love that there's the 3 versions.
But even that middle level, which is like professional courtesy, he's still got contempt for you, and you can feel it.
Right.
And that again was like, our feeling about Hank was the people who liked Hank would be the people who don't like super nice suck up type people. Mm-hmm. So, we kind of figured you'd understand intuitively if you liked Hank and you wanted to win him back, you'd win him back by being very, very good at your job and, sincere and hard nosed, not by being super duper nice and smiley.
And also finding ways to kill Connor repeatedly. Every single time it's presented that's
something your fans like to do, is it?
Apparently they were thrilled. Here's the thing. Anytime another android was like, they were just like, oh,
they were making Connor just walk into traffic,
absolutely,
stand on the edge of the roof,
yes,
juggle with knives, drink bleach. No, but you see, to me, it's Brian. So when he looks into the camera, you can't kill him. He's such a nice guy. How can you kill him deliberately?
What doesn't?
I don't understand this.
At one point, doesn't his wife try to kill him? I think, doesn't that happen?
You're thinking of the Eden Club scene. I don't know. Are we going to play that today? I can't even remember. Maybe we shouldn't spoil what happens in that scene.
Yeah.
Because his scene with his wife is pretty dramatic in Eden Club.
Yeah, it's a lot of like so much tension,
drama,
interaction.
Interactive drama, you might say?
Drama there, because it's just a couple out on a date. I'm not gonna spoil.
Oh yeah, that's the scene. They
like,
just hang out and they talk about the future and
Like, do you want to stream tonight, honey? Like, no, I don't want to stream tonight. You're like, oh, is someone gonna die now?
Oh, sick burn. No, but by all means, guys, check out Eden Club. Mm-hmm. Although I think today we're playing The Nest. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I will say that this game, let me go back really quick. This, in the extras, the survey, right? And I don't want to spoil it for people who have yet to do the survey. The survey is fascinating, but more importantly, I don't know when the game first came out, maybe a week or two before, an actual university was saying, hey, I think it was on Twitter, we're looking for test subjects for a study we're conducting about robots, cyborgs, androids, all this different stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in. So I emailed them and they emailed me back with this.
You were hoping for like a robot wife. And what they gave you was a survey.
well, here's the thing but the survey was about that. And it was fascinating because it wasn't asking things like, hey, would you get it on with the robot? It was like really probing with like, the assumption was, okay, imagine, it doesn't matter whether you are you okay with society doing this? Right. And then here's some other, like, okay, so if you can make an android look like anybody, would you be okay if it could look like a celebrity or a dead spouse?
Of these issues, yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's fascinating. And then the questions kept on getting more and more very pointed.
Probing?
Yeah, and also to the point where it'd be like, well, okay, would you view this thing as a friend, or would you view this thing as property? And then do you want it to have
dark question.
And then it's like, or emotions. Do you want to feel pain, like that kind of stuff? And then it'd be like, okay, would you buy a used android? Things like all these different questions. Ew. Yeah, like it was crazy. And then just sitting there thinking like, how would I answer this like truthfully? Like, I'm not gonna go out and buy a used android, right? Like, I have all these different. It was fascinating. Then at the very, very end, it asked you stuff about how you would treat something that was not real, but made to pretend to be real. If it was programmed to have emotions and feelings, and then would you still,
what responsibilities do you have to that thing? Do you owe it? Do you have an ethical obligation towards it? Yeah.
And that's where the whole thing was leading down it was like funneling you toward ethics and how you would treat something, which I think this game does very, very well, is at the end, it's like funneling you towards like, well, are these a different type of person, or are they not sentient at all? And I think
that's the survey thing is we had a lot of universities contact us once the game had come out. So Detroit's broken 5 million units now, and a lot of the people who've done it, a lot of people who've played the game have done the whole survey. And those who choose to share their information through PlayStation Network or other.
Oh no, the internet got him.
General population. A university would be happy with 2,000 respondents to a survey. So when you've got 5 million respondents to a survey, that's considered kind of statistically robust sample.
Yes.
And the answers to the questions varied greatly by region, which surprised me. Surprised me. So like populations in.
Are you saying that when I go here and I click survey and the first one is, would you ever have a relationship with an android that looks like a human? And I'm like, yup. Is that what you're saying?
One of the interesting things that came out of it, and we had a university speculate about this. We've never shared the data, but a university wrote to us and said what they had found is that in the West, where we have this idea of a soul, people don't like the idea of an object becoming human somehow.
Sure.
Whereas in somewhere like Asia, where there's different religious cultural background, they're a lot more comfortable with the idea of an object having some kind of soul or being equal in some ethical sense to a human being. And the survey bore that data out. So for us, it was a fun thing because exactly as you said, it's one of the things that goes into the game is this idea of at what point are these machines human? How unhumane does a human have to be in order to be less or more human than the machine, which is being very humane? So the survey was like a natural outgrowth from that, but it's taken on a life of its own, honestly.
Yeah, and I think the study that I took hit on that in a really fun way when it was like, okay, so one of the very first questions is, would you have a relationship with an android if it like looked like a human being? And there were, yes, no, there was different qualifiers. But later, as it goes through, it was like, okay, so you don't want to have a relationship. But if you had an android who did all your laundry, let's say, would you want it to have emotions? Would you want it to be able to talk to you and be your friend? And then it clearly set you up to be like, okay, so you're best friends with this android who knows everything about you.
And does all your work for you.
Would you then consider a relationship? Yeah, it was really funny. I was like, oh, they clever. So, yeah, and again, it comes down to the idea of, could you bond with something that, even if it isn't human, is in some way relates to you? And
yeah, and I mean that's exactly, as you were saying, that's exactly what goes on between Connor and Hank.
Yeah.
So like David's idea for Connor and Hank, when he wanted for Connor and Hank, it was like, take the one guy who never in a million years would want to be friends with an android. Take like the most anti-android guy you can imagine. So, if those who play the game, they'll discover that there's a backstory for Hank as to why he hates androids so much. But all we know at this stage in the story is that he really has total contempt for them, as most of the society does. And then how do you make somebody like Hank think of an android as a son? Be willing to die for him. And it's exactly what you said. You do it the way it's that notion of like a frog in hot water. If you turn the water up, you've turned the temperature up really slowly, the frog doesn't notice that the water's getting hotter and hotter. And, with this, you don't just say to somebody, here's this machine, fall in love with it. You say, here's this machine that's going to do your laundry, going to predict what you want for your shopping. Here's this machine that's going to recommend programs to you. And then slowly it expands in the things that it does for you until it's taking up a large part of your heart.
And I think that's one of the things this game does very, very well without spoiling anything. For example, on the screen right now, like this chapter I selected is one of those things where it's kind of based on the whole dynamic of caring for something that isn't real, and the idea of like, okay, well, I think of you as a son, but are you that, right? Like when push comes to shove, are you that? Or
which is an interesting choice of words for those who end up playing the scene when push comes to shove. That's an Easter egg. I see you're a pro, Jesse. I see I'm dealing with a master now. I see.
A great example is this one as well. If you get to a point where you don't go all out during this storyline, during Car's storyline,
you're not human. It's actually an elaborate test. It's like the test in Blade Runner to see if you're a replicant or not. If the Kara storyline doesn't make you cry, then you are confirmed not human.
And I think that if you do the Kara storyline and I don't want to say go against the meta, but if you take some chances narratively, the payoff at the end is one where you're like, oh damn. And I think that it's hard to talk about it, not spoil it, but like it goes back to the idea of the interaction between humans and things that are near human, and if we're willing to accept them as more than what they are. And
that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's why I love this game. I love the whole concept. I'm very keen on everything that happens with it. All right. Anyway, we have to jump into some of this.
We have to play the game now.
Yeah, we are going to go. Did I already pass it?
No, it's coming up. There it is.
All right. So
should I do some background for this scene?
Yes, absolutely. I was just about to ask that.
So, to those who don't know the game well, Connor, who is the character that Jesse will be playing as, he's an android, but he's also an investigator who works for the police. And he's investigating on a series of crimes that have been committed by androids. Now, the game's set in the near future, where androids are like everyday technology. They're like smartphones. And they do all kinds of jobs in the service sector. Everybody's got an android butler. But some of them have started to go a little bit nuts, pushing people off roofs, that kind of crazy stuff. So Connor has been paired up with a human investigator called Hank, and together they're investigating on a suspected deviant, a suspected android that's lost its marbles.
Yeah. Connor, Connor is a detective, but sent by the company that makes
androids.
Yeah.
Cyberlife.
So it's like, what is his motives? What is he really doing here?
Whose side is he really on?
Yeah.
That kind of comes up in this scene a bit, but yeah.
All right.
I remember your playthrough of this because we watched it when you did it. So fans often send us playthroughs of their streamers, and a lot of people sent through your playthrough.
Oh my God.
Not of this scene, another Connor scene. And they were like, well, I remember one of the messages was like, this guy gets Connor in all capital letters. It's we have this like wall of fan mail. And one of them was a guy who'd sent, or maybe it was a girl, had sent us pictures of you playing the game with captions of what you'd said about Connor. And she was like, he gets him. I want to see you get Connor.
All right. I mean, I'll try. I don't know that. Well, all right. I do know.
You know that you get him. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Save. It's for keeps.
Yeah.
You got to play for keeps in this game.
Super for keeps.
So this is in the previous scene, Connor and Hank had a bad argument. So you'll see that Jesse's going to try and make it up to Hank. This is the day after my birthday, November 6th. Chicken feed. There was a debate about the name of that shop. So I wanted to call it What the Cluck. And I was told that this was not okay, but to me, I don't understand what's wrong with what the cluck.
Hey, Hank. How you doing, man? Yes, hey, listen, I got
okay.
a shit hot tip for you. Number 5 in the 3rd.
So Hank's discussing an illegal gambling tip and picking up some high-calorie food. Look at those graphics. This is the beautiful thing about the PC version.
It's 100% guaranteed. You can't go wrong.
All right, I'm in.
Damn straight.
My favorite part of that scene.
Won't regret this.
There's so many fun acting.
You should hear how they localize it. It's worth checking out other languages, how they localize the noises.
What is your problem? Don't you ever do as you're told? Look, you don't have to follow me around like a poodle.
He told you to stay in the car, Jesse.
Listen, at all.
Obviously.
So,
you know, do you want to try and build bridges with Hank here? Or are you too cool for school? Are you going to reconcile?
Our relationship got off on the wrong foot.
It's putting it mildly.
Forget what happened and start over. What do you say?
Look, he sent me a piece of plastic for a partner, and I'm dealing with it. But if you think we're going to be buddies, you're as stupid as you look.
Now, that's not nice. You see, what's nice with this mocap technology, they really capture the facial expressions. And I mean, that is what Clancy looked like on set doing that line. So this is an analysis sequence. You're going to use Jesse's going to use his android intellect to analyze the environment.
You just can't resist.
Now, you see, I'm so pleased that you're reading this menu because there's a team that writes the things that go on these boards. It can't be taken from other places. It has to all be written. And I always think no one's going to read the menu, but Jesse's reading the menu right now. So thank you, Jesse.
A great question that I have for you as we get into some questions here. What is it like when designing a world that you have to, I imagine, think about players like me who are going to stop and read where it says our chickens were born with 2 legs and 2 wings only and be like, haha, world building, versus people who are just
world building.
Click.
Yeah, I mean, so designers will talk a lot about the critical path, which is the thing you expect everybody to see. The problem with a game like Detroit is designed to have so many variables. Statistically, no two playthroughs of the game are exactly the same. So you don't actually know what piece of content is going to count as obscure and what piece is going to be central.
Sure.
So you have to think of it all as, for somebody, that sign's going to be the only piece of world building they see. So you need to think about everything as if it were the one piece of world building the player was gonna get. So we put quite a lot of effort into it. But there's always that voice in your head that says nobody's going to appreciate this, and you did. So I tip my fedora to you.
Oh yeah, I'm that guy I will look at everything. I will try, especially when
I'd heard that.
When they drop things like RA9, and from that point on you're just like, what is this? And so you go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out what it means, and dropping little clues like that throughout the game is how you make players like me lose their minds, but also become heavily invested in a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you want to reward people who pay attention. There's nothing worse than paying attention to something you like and discovering that there's nothing on the second level. You know what I mean? We know that is fatal for people who want good narrative in games. So.
Yeah, I love Iggy's chips. There's a lot of fun stuff to look at, and I love to look at it all.
It always freaks me out, the birth dates, because the game's set in the future. This scene takes place in 2038.
Sure.
So these people, I mean, we're going to be that age in 2038.
So what you're
when was he
telling
born?
Me is I'm an 80s baby, so this is
me too.
Gary and I, we're on the same page. I'm
87. When are you, Jesse?
I'm 81. I'm like,
you don't look it, brother.
You know what? Everyone says that. One day a switch is gonna flip and it'll be over for me.
And then the people are gonna go, whoa, you look it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my stream. I'll have like an old white beard. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
They were gonna look at pigeons.
Yeah. Oh dear. But the crazy thing about this is, one, you're absolutely right, seeing the ages, and eventually you come across people you're like,
he's younger than me.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
But also what I think is very funny is that I only have to make it at least another 18 years till I have a cool Android, and I'm holding you responsible.
Yeah, and you know what? By then, they're kind of everyday tech.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
It's not even going to be you'll be an early adopter, obviously, Jesse. I mean, you're a big-time streamer, what? So we'll send you one in the mail as soon as they're ready.
I'll wait until we've got all the kinks worked out.
Oh yeah, you want to, because you don't want the buggy version. You want Android 2.0. You don't want you don't want to be a beta tester for Androids.
I'm no first.
That doesn't
adopter.
end well.
No.
Very good point.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy who ends up in the hospital. I'll be fine. I love the fact that there is in this world so many little things like this though, where especially when you play as Connor, because you can scan people and find out their backstory. A lot of it, which I think is great, is that you're seeing, this guy's backstory really quickly, and that he is a former criminal, and he has breach of hygiene at his restaurant, and so.
See, someone's actually this is my dream come true. Somebody actually reading all this little text. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. The idea with Connor is, think about us living in the age of information. The only reason that we can't do this now is that we don't have facial recognition technology on two legs walking around, but all that information is in the public record. And so, if you're playing as Connor and you see that level of detail about people, how does it affect your behavior?
Right.
In this scene, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, I think him being paired with Hank during this, the idea that he immediately sees this guy as he resisted arrest and he has terrible hygiene.
He doesn't wash his hands.
Yeah. That then going to Hank, who's sitting there eating and just is like, hey, I like this guy. It shows you the human quality of like, look, he might not be perfect, but this other human's fine with it.
Yeah, and that as Connor, that is the fundamental question, which is, you're programmed to think of criminality as something to be dealt with, and criminality is wrong in all cases.
Right.
And what you can sort of learn as Connor in your relationship with Hank is that some level of rule breaking is okay and maybe even necessary to form a deep relationship with somebody, especially somebody like Hank. So in this scene, your basic choice as Connor is, how far are you willing to go in order to try and build bridges with Hank? And then that really goes to that question of whether Connor's going to become human or not. So in summary, this guy gets it.
Did you just title drop on us right there? Did you just, and whether he'll become human? Should we roll the credits?
They played the title, they played the trailer music, right?
Yeah.
As I was saying, that was what was supposed to happen.
Should we just go now? I think we're
done.
Covered everything.
We're finished.
All right. Yeah, let's go. Whoop. 1985. Man, I'm gonna. You know what?
He's 2 years older than me, and he's younger than you.
I'd be happy to end up like this. Not the curmudgeon-y part, but like,
Well, be like Clancy Brown at that age. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, eating a burger in 2038. Just
The guy is robust.
Yeah.
He's a big, tall fella. He's a strapping lad, Clancy Brown.
Yes. If you ever have a chance to see him in person, dude is super tall. I was not prepared for it. I'm gonna say 9 feet. 9 feet tall. I feel like that's
yeah. He's he's a little bit taller than one of those double-decker buses. He like looks down on a double-decker bus slightly.
He rides on the top of one and like uses his feet to power it. Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. He doesn't climb the stairs. He just takes one big step.
Yeah.
So there was actually a lot of debate about this hamburger as well.
Why was that? When I saw this, I seem to recall being like 1,600 calories.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So my question there was a few people working on these like details, and my question was, what's the highest? We had this rule for all the technology in the game that it had to exist in a lab somewhere.
Sure.
So if there's a drone or something, we had to find a prototype that matched what we wanted to do, and if we couldn't, we didn't put it in the game. So there'd be no like fantasy stuff. And then with the burger, I was like, I want this really high calorie burger so we can have this. But what's the highest calorie burger in the world? And somebody found a burger that was 1680. So we put it in. But I agree, it's a fantastically high figure.
Especially because I was like, look, I know that hamburgers like this exist, especially in America. I'm very well aware of that. But those are the ones that are like 4 patties, 6 pieces of bacon. This burger is literally most of it lettuce, tomato, pickle, onions. I was like,
listen, Jesse,
must be.
That's a different department, son. That's a different department. I wasn't on the lettuce department. I'm in the writing department. I agree with you. It should look more like sort of this size, right? It should be like layers.
Yeah.
I agree. We should patch it. I'm gonna say let's patch it.
Patch it out. Also, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you how to make video games, right?
But go ahead and do that.
But, David, if you're watching, this is a cheeseburger, not a hamburger. Thank you.
Again, different department. I'm not going to disagree with you. There's
gonna
clearly
say,
a piece of cheese there.
Cheese. Yeah, there's clearly a piece of cheese.
What else would you think that yellow slice was? Is that like a very slim vegetable?
Calories. It's a 1,000 calorie slice. It's from the future.
Yeah, it's sci-fi cheese. Okay,
yeah,
shut up.
I think that's it.
Thanks, Gary. I'm starving.
Don't leave that thing here.
Oh, not a chance. Follows me everywhere.
So the guy who does the voice of Gary, Dominic Gould, he's Kara's owner, Todd, and he was in Beyond. And he helped us with the dialogue editing. He came in and did dialogue editing with me and David, and he would do the lines with us to hear how they sounded done by a proper actor.
That's
and
amazing.
we went to he's a really talented guy. Okay, so you've unlocked 2 dialogue choices there because of your thorough and intriguing analysis.
and I must know.
Your meal contains 1.4 times the recommended daily intake of calories, and twice the cholesterol level. You shouldn't eat that.
You really shouldn't.
He's got to die of something.
That was my favorite positive comment.
Yeah.
Like, look, you gotta die.
He likes thinking about his own death. It cheers him up.
You didn't pay for your meal.
Gary's a
So
friend.
you noticed that.
I scratch his back, he scratches mine.
So, highway, this means in the previous scene, you listened to him when he told you not to run across the highway
This
after
morning,
Kara.
when we were chasing those deviants,
So he showed
why
concern
didn't
for your
you want
life.
me to cross the highway?
Because you could have been killed. And I
Killed?
don't like filling out paperwork for damaged equipment.
I see. You see the cover. See the cover story. Now that's exactly what you were talking about, Jesse. He's thawing, despite himself. So just keep melting that ice cube, brother.
Can I ask you a personal question, Lieutenant?
I don't know if this is
Why
gonna
do
do
you
it.
hate androids so much?
What's your shoe size?
I have my reasons.
Can you hear that British
anything
grime
you'd
on the
like to know
radio,
about
by the
me?
way?
Hell no.
Yes,
Well,
and I love it.
Yeah. Why do they make you look
Never
so
know,
goofy
man.
and give you that weird voice?
I love that. Man.
Cyberlife androids are designed to work harmoniously with humans. Both my appearance and voice were specifically designed to facilitate my integration.
They fucked up,
Well,
boy.
they fucked up.
But that's how you know he likes you.
Know about deviants.
Right.
You read my mind. Proceed.
We believe that a mutation occurs in the software of some androids, which can lead to them emulating a human emotion.
In English, please.
They don't really feel emotions. They just get overwhelmed by irrational instructions, which can lead to unpredictable behavior.
Emotions always screw everything up. The androids aren't as different from us as we thought. You ever dealt with deviants before?
Deep. So this is a flashback to the very first scene of the game.
A few months back, a deviant was threatening to jump off the roof with a little girl. I managed to save her.
Oh, so you saved her,
Guess you've
Jesse,
done
in
all
your
your
save game.
homework,
Well
right?
done. I never
Know
managed to
everything
save
there is
her.
to know about me.
I don't believe that for a minute.
It's just a string of deaths. Remember when I played hostage?
I'm gonna be truthful with him.
I know you graduated top of your class. You made a name for yourself in several cases.
He was
and
talented
became the
once,
youngest lieutenant in
hardworking.
Detroit. I also know you've received several disciplinary warnings in recent years, and you spend a lot of time in bars.
So what's your conclusion?
You're a lot. Give him a psychological conclusion.
I think you should. You should.
Sincere.
Are you going to open up? Go for
I
it.
think working with
Show him
an
the real
officer
Jesse.
with personal issues is an added challenge.
Nice
But
euphemism.
adapting to human unpredictability is one of my features.
What do you think of the wink? How good is that wink?
Just got a
Now,
report
do you
of
know?
a suspected deviant. It's a few blocks away. We should go have a look. I'll let you finish your meal.
You know
I'll
how
be in the
hard
car
it
if
is
you need
to
me.
do
I'm
a
in his
bad
head
wink.
now. I'm in his
To do a
head
bad
now.
wink. Like if you're very good at playing the piano, and someone asks you to play badly, it's quite hard. So for someone like Brian, who's such a good actor, to say wink
Hey,
like
Connor.
incompetently, he's so charming.
Run
It's
out of
actually
batteries
tough
or what?
for him to wink.
I'm sorry. I was
Crap
making
me.
a report to Cyberlife.
Okay, so the S is about to
Plan on
get
staying
real.
in the elevator?
No, I'm coming.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like when an actor has to do that,
Yeah, what
like,
do
the bad acting. You know, like
Yes.
the like, oh no, you're
I'm-
here.
You do a character who's lying badly.
Yes.
That's tough for an actor because they can just lie their asses off, no problem.
I
So
wanted, without spoiling anything,
certainly,
I wanted to show that like that scene, right, has this little bit of interaction stuff here.
yeah. And there's a couple of moments in that scene where it refers back to things that have happened. So, you know, for example, if Connor's done badly in the first scene of the game, the conversation with Hank there about having dealt with deviants before is very different.
Right.
Because if he's, in my cases, he's always done very badly, and he's always not very confident about how he's going to deal with deviants if he ever sees them again.
And one of the things I think was brought up even for the trailer for the game, if you go back to that first scene, which we saw the flash of, and you mentioned like, I didn't save the girl. In that scene, there are a ludicrous number of paths that lead to, I think, 8 endings, question mark?
So I think in the flowchart there's 8.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, and this is just the way it is, Jesse. This is not me bragging. The flowchart understates the amount of, we simplified the flowcharts. So the real flowchart is in the office. I often think I should post a picture of it online or something. We had to have a real flowchart of all the cases. David had it in his office. And I mean, it looks like the Andromeda Galaxy. It's ridiculous. So it's been streamlined in order to make it readable.
So what is that process like? What is the process of creating the flow? Like, I imagine it is hectic and awful, and like you mentioned, the Andromeda Galaxy of just all these pins. You're Pepe Silva-ing this entire thing, trying to create your sort of outline for the game. But what is that like? Especially as a writer, what is that process of doing all of this, but on, a grander scale that, this is for most of the chapters this is minimal
by Detroit standards. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, my background was in TV, and we were aware in TV in the UK, and we were aware of video games. This was almost 6 years ago now.
Okay.
We were aware of.
You heard that video games existed.
We had heard of this strange newfangled technology that the kids were using, and people were worried in television, and they still are, frankly, about interactive storytelling. So we were looking at how to be more interactive, and somebody in my department made us watch Beyond Two Souls, and was like, these guys. I remember the meeting. I can't say who the guy is because he's still at my old company. But I remember him saying, these guys are going to eat our lunch if we're not careful. Like, because this stuff's going to soon, it's going to look as good as anything we make, but it's got all these choices in it and so on and so forth. And as a writer, you're always told 2 things: make the audience care about what happens on the screen, make the audience feel some kind of personal affinity with the main characters. And the choices factor, the additional weapon of choice as a writer, makes both those jobs easier. Because if the character's in trouble, you feel doubly responsible if you actually put them in that situation through the choices you made. So, that is kind of a given. And then you're going to feel more identified to the character because you've helped shape them. You have your Connor. If I'm making a TV show, everybody gets the same insert name of TV character. Everybody gets their own Connor. So I just wrote to David and said, my view was, instead of trying to emulate what they're doing, why not just go and work at that company? So I wrote to David and started working on this. He already had the ideas. He had like a lot of the ideas for this already, this game, when I arrived. So then, how do you go about doing the choices? Just with a lot of hard work. I mean, this is something that I know you know about because you're working on something similar, aren't you?
I'm actively trying to make an FMV game. And so currently, right now, we are literally going through the process of creating the mapping stuff.
And connecting the cases. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that I know that somewhere there is an office filled with, because one of the things happening right now is the writers we have working on it are all from the script writing world, similarly to you.
So they're used to linear stories. Yeah.
And so when we see the storytelling, we're getting it as a script. And then we have like early mega alpha versions of just the text as you play through the game, so we can see what that looks like.
Almost like a Twine
game.
Yeah.
And then after I gotten done, we had a meeting and I was like, okay, can we just like post somewhere the actual visual version of like maybe note
connecting the
cards
dots. Yeah.
And they were like, that would be a lot of work. And I'm like, maybe we need to do that. So now
Yeah,
that I know that
it is a lot
happened,
of work. It is a lot of work.
Now that I know that it happened, I'm going to be like, I need to see this. I need an
Honestly,
office.
The thing is, if you don't do that, like the minute you do that, you notice three things, each of which is catastrophic.
Sure.
So first you notice that there's a path through the game that's half as long as all the other paths. That's no good.
Right.
Unless it's by design. Second thing you notice, all your favorite scenes are on one side of the diagram. So, if you use linear writers, the way you're trained, okay, speaking for myself, the way you're trained in TV is there's a right version of this scene and you have to find it. So, in the writer's room, you might have a debate. You might say, oh, this character should wuss out here. And someone else says, no, this character should be tough. And you have that debate. But in the end, you show one version. Whereas the whole game here is to say, that's the sort of choice that should be in the player's hands. Mm-hmm. So linear writers will usually find a version of the story that they really like, and then they add the other cases in afterwards. And, you don't want audiences to feel that. You want audience, so you like with these characters, instead of having an arc that was like, okay, this character's going to go from nobody to a revolutionary hero, the arcs were posed as questions. Like, how far would you go? As you were saying with the survey, find a question that's interesting, because then every scene can be you asking the player that question.
Right.
So as Connor, whose side are you on was the question we had for Connor. Whose side are you on, really? You like this Hank guy very much, but he's a human. You're an android, but deviants are kind of bad because they kill people, but then deviants are only bad because they're oppressed, but so I'm sure your writers are doing that, by the way. And, FMV is a lost art. I would love to see a new FMV game because it's such an underrated medium.
Yeah. So happy there's still a few still come out every year. And yeah, they capture that sort of B quality cinema that I love so much. So
yours doesn't have a name yet. We can't plug it yet, can we? Or can we?
No, it is. It doesn't exist in any form. It is just.
I love that as a status update. How's the game coming? It doesn't exist in any form.
This year's been really rough. So, this year was all planned out, and I was like,
what happened this year? Did I miss something? I've been home a lot. I don't know what happened.
Don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. But it's one of those things where even the versions that are when Netflix did Bandersnatch, like even those things, right, which are like minimalized versions where it's only every few minutes one or two choices. I think the idea of creating stories with choice, especially like this, because you're absolutely right when it comes to Marcus or Kara, the other characters that we aren't seeing right now, their stories are a question mark. I love the idea of, sure, you're an android on the run, but it's the whole question is, what do you do when you're on the run, right? It isn't just like you're running and
and it is also what was so intriguing to me. So David had the Kara character really when I arrived, because the whole thing began with the Kara tech demo.
Yeah.
And the really smart thing that he wanted to do with Kara, in my view, was to give her Alice. Because now you have this relationship between a machine and a human, which, Kara is a better parent to Alice than her biological parent is.
Right.
So in what sense is she less of a mother than a human being would be? To what extent is a human being a question of biology versus behavior, ethics, and so on? And then the other thing it does is she's watching everything you do, Alice. So if you do all this really dark stuff just to get her out of town, she's like, whoa, Kara,
she
like
judges you so hard.
Yeah, she is, she very judgy. So like kids can be, just always up in your shit, telling you what to do. And it's crazy. But what that means is when you're making these moral decisions, you're not just thinking about what you would do. You're thinking about, what do you want to project to this kid who's looking up to you and expecting you to be better than the people around you.
Although when you let your chat play and tell you what to do, earlier on, there's a very dark scene that can happen with that little girl and for the rest of the game, she judges you, and you're like, how can you judge me after what you did?
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly
really
what you
funny,
mean.
and you're like, I have negative relationship with you now because I robbed this store. You're a little monster.
Well, listen, nobody ever said life was fair, right? You want the game to feel real. You don't want it to feel fair. That would be a fantasy game, a game where people were fair to each other.
Yeah. All right. Before we're out of time, we should jump back into this.
Sorry.
And keep.
How about this guy?
Not much. Just that a neighbor reported that he heard strange noises coming from this floor. Nobody's supposed to be living here.
Seems legit, right? Seems legit.
Yeah, I can't remember if there's anything down that hallway, but I'm not gonna.
The neighbor said he saw a man hiding an LED under his cap.
Oh, crap.
So check it out. I mean,
Just if we have to investigate every time somebody hears a strange noise, we're gonna need more
somebody
cops.
likes birds, right?
Hey, were you really making a report
I
back
think it's
there
an
in the elevator?
ornithophile.
Just by closing your
I
eyes?
think that's the term.
Correct.
Shit. Wish I could do that.
So, be careful, Jesse, because we don't know what we're going to find in here. All I know is it ain't going to be a tea party. You know what I'm saying, brother?
Birds. It just could be birds.
It could just be pigeons hanging out in there like, what?
Ooh, yeah,
Anybody
I pay my
home?
rent. Leave me alone, pig.
Open up, Detroit police!
Ooh, did you hear that?
Stay behind me.
Oh, I
Got
did.
it.
The suspect is in there, and he's acting very fishy.
Or a bird fell over and dropped their teeth.
A big bird.
Yeah.
Check it out, Jesse. So, you notice, why are there no lights on in here?
Well, because androids don't need lights.
So why would an android have an apartment?
Well,
Unless it was a runaway android.
the android is a huge fan of Westworld and loves the maze allegory, and so decided to put that on the wall. And if I come across any RA9s,
I rather think the shoe is on the other foot, Jesse.
you're right. Actually, you're right. Turns out Westworld loves Detroit.
Oh, the magazines. We had fun with
plenty
these
of
magazines.
If
We
you're
had
a
fun
huge-
with these magazines.
Yeah, if you're a huge fan of backstory and lore and all that stuff. Also, there's some really funny moments where stuff is happening in the background. You can just stumble across a magazine and just be like,
start reading.
yeah, there's like explosions. And stuff.
You're supposed to be a detective, and there's like crime going on behind you. People stabbings, bombs, and you're like, huh? Which
but
star sign are you?
This does some really great stuff. There's a lot of great through lines and backstories about things between. Well, here's a great example. Without spoiling anything, this is a great example. Red ice is an actual thing that's in the story that is kind of addressed, but not really addressed, but is a huge plot point that affects one of the characters in major ways.
Yeah,
it's
and we did so much research for this game, and there was a bunch of stuff we just couldn't use, and a lot of it got turned into these magazines.
Yeah.
So I talked about how we wanted things to exist somewhere in a lab before we would put them in the game. We read a lot of stuff about how the environment's going to evolve, what we're in for and so on, and we couldn't find ways of doing it in scenes directly, but this was our way of enriching the world a little bit.
I'll continue. Nothing possibly could go wrong.
Look at the lighting on Hank there.
I was
that.
just about to say that. Whoa!
What the
Pigeons.
fuck is this?
He doesn't like pigeons.
Jesus, this place stinks.
I think there's a mod someone's done where they replace the pigeons with Connors. Have you seen
Hilarious. And all the Connors fly away.
And all the Connors, it's just Connor's head on a pigeon's body, and hundreds of them.
Amazing.
I'm sure I've seen that.
The John Woo style freeze that happens whenever the pigeons fly
Well,
away.
looks like we came for nothing.
And you're going into, we used to call that the Mind Palace. So this is how an android sees the world, you know, analyzing at the speed of a computer.
Our man's gone.
So there's two interesting things to notice about this poster. Of course, it's recycled paper.
100% recycled. So this is essentially rooftop farms. Is kind of
yes, which is a real thing.
Yeah.
It's like it was a kind of it was in its infancy when we started working on this, but now it's become a bit more popular. Like urban reclamation of ceilings and roofs and
this ties back to the idea of Detroit as a whole, both growing and falling apart at the same time. Like some parts of the city are a mess, and then the environment as a whole, and all the little threads of the game come together in little tiny things like this.
It's also Detroit's a very interesting setting because it was the engine of the United States for so long. And you know, even in the Ford Motor Company era, it was the center of the world in some sense. So the idea was Kamsky had chosen it as the perfect place for the second industrial revolution. So you have now found some key piece of evidence.
What?
Hidden
a poster in a wall?
Whoever thought of doing that?
I don't know.
Don't answer that question, Jesse. It's never been done. It's a totally original idea.
That is fresh air.
Oh!
You should have done the localization for this.
Oh! What did I find here? It's me, Connor.
Why didn't you audition for the part? You got it like that.
I don't know. Look, I'm sure there are future games. Call me.
So you're available.
Oh, I'm available to be that guy. Oh!
It looks like a notebook, but it's indecipherable.
Are these pigeons? Wow!
You're adding this whole extra texture to it. I love it.
Thank you.
I've never seen Connor this way before.
Actually, before I look at that, is this in here gonna give me what I want? Yes! Oh, hey, here's a main mystery of the game.
The mysterious RA9. So this is something that deviants, the crazy androids, often scrawl on the wall or obsessively note down in books, and they talk about RA9 in this messianic way. RA9 will save us. So, you know, as you're saying, Jesse, who is RA9 or what is RA9? It's one of the big things Connor investigates.
Any idea what it means?
RA9. Written 2,471 times. It's the same sign Ortiz's android wrote on the shower wall.
So you found that in your playthrough, Jesse.
Why are they obsessed with this sign?
Good investigator.
Looks like mazes or something.
I love that. Like, looking at it this way would make it suddenly make sense. Huh? So you're going to see now, I think you're going to see Connor's ability to reconstruct how something ended up in the way that in the condition that you find it in.
Someone was standing there.
Yeah, here we go. Ooh. So you can tell by the angle of the stool and the way that the pen's fallen that it moved in this direction, it's disturbed the dust in that way, and you're able to piece together that the suspect was standing here when you knocked on the door.
And that's what that noise was.
And that's how fun it would be to be an android.
Yeah. And then you can, scroll back to the whole thing like...
So again, not only are you an actor, but you could do the SFX. I just feel like we wasted so much money.
Imagine if this scene was just me going, oh, people. The reviews for this game would be greatest video game ever made.
Sound design. I listened to it without watching what was happening. I just blindfolded myself and used the soundtrack. That's how good the sound design is. Okay, so I don't know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the deviant must still be here. Because he's not had time to escape, and there's just one entrance.
Real
would be
books.
crazy.
Thought I was the last guy in Detroit to keep some.
He'd have to be hiding somewhere, right?
Electronic books, you
where?
can't smell paper.
He should have just, thinking about it now, he should have just been lying down with all the pigeons on him. And then when they flew away, he'd be like, dudes, my dudes.
It'd be amazing if he was in the fridge.
Just scrunched up.
I don't know why I just assumed the fridge was the spot to look there. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, the fridge. That makes sense.
Can't believe it. This nut job is actually feeding these fuckers.
This nut job was feeding these pigeons.
Hello?
Okay. Feels like you've searched everywhere, right?
It feels like it.
But then if you were a deviant, you'd hide in an intelligent place, right?
Would it be here? If I was a deviant, where would I hide that was intelligent?
Oh, there's something to analyze there.
It's almost like this fell or something crazy.
Yeah, because who would store it in that fashion? On its side like that, right? Who would store a cage that way? Reconstruct. So again, you're going to figure out. You didn't do the sound, Jesse. Magnificent.
There it is. And the suspect.
So you can see just how scared he was because he slipped off the stool, banged into the cage.
Uh-oh.
He didn't look up. It's such a rookie mistake. Such a rookie mistake. You didn't look up.
What a fool I am. I'll just go up.
Love that. The way he does that.
Goddamn fucking pigeons!
You gotta catch this guy, Jess.
Chase it!
Oh no, I think we're out
You
of
gotta
time.
catch this guy. Show me your streamer skills.
I think we're out of time.
Oh, what, for the stream?
Yes. I don't know. Are we...
Talk about a cliffhanger. Okay. I guess you better let him go. Guess I'll die.
No way. No way. No way. Fast but risky.
You're gonna go fast but risky. I must say you're doing very well. Because you're not playing on easy either. This is the real deal. Pro streamer confirmed.
I didn't even need to jump that. I was like, yeah.
I think you're going to get him in time. It's added jeopardy that the stream's going to turn off in a second on us.
I guess. Oh, how is he that good?
You can cut him off. You're an elite prototype. You know what I mean? You're cutting edge. This guy hangs out with pigeons.
You're right.
Nobody.
You're right.
You can catch this punk. God, you haven't failed one. I'm not going to jinx it, but you're doing very well. Oh my god, excellent play.
Holy shit!
Even I'm impressed.
I wanted him to light a cigarette, but again, too much.
Stop running!
Hey, be careful!
Hey! I'm working here!
He went from New York to Detroit to get some peace and quiet, and this is what he gets. Correct, but crowded, man. It's gotta be. I think you're gonna catch him.
Connor got leg day in.
Connor does not skip leg day, for sure.
Oh, this is fine. Stop right there.
God, what are you going to do? Are you going to prioritize Hank or the investigation?
There's only one 89% chance. No. You know what?
You're not even going to risk the 11%.
No.
Shit! We had it.
See, now that says a lot about you. The relationship with Hank's more important than the case.
You'd have caught it if it weren't for me.
Neutral. You saved my life. I now feel neutrally about you.
We know
Feeling real good about it.
We'll find it.
All right, I'm gonna do a wait, right there, and we'll go back to the flow chart, just so you can see kind of like the way
some of the variation.
Yeah, and then I guess there was a bad outcome. So there's a lot of terrible things that can happen in that race.
Oh, it can go wrong in lots of ways.
But
Connor is literally replaceable.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Final Destination for him, this game, if you're not careful.
It's, yeah, the chat will love to kill Connor repeatedly. It is, you know. Anyway, we are, I think we're out of time. We're getting the wrap it up. So
time flies when you're having fun.
This was great. Thank you for doing this with me, Adam. This was so much
Thank you,
fun.
Jesse.
Yeah. Hey, right now, if you are watching, Detroit is on sale for PC.
Detroit's on sale. Check out PC. It's incredible on PC. Mm-hmm. Also, check out Detroit Community Play.
Yes.
Fantastic interaction with the streamers and so on. We've pushed 5 million, but we'd like to double that, really. So
I've heard that if they double it, that I will be
Jesse
doing
stars
all the
in the
sound
next
effects.
game.
The next
and we'll
game
do all
is
the
just
sound
me.
effects.
Yeah, it'll be great. I hear only good things can happen from that. So
check out Jesse's FMV game.
Whatever year that is, whenever it comes out.
You're gonna have a role for me in that game, right?
Yeah, you'll be doing all our sound effects.
You're so good at them.
Well, that's why, yeah, but like, you know,
you just want to mix it up.
As Hank would say, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We'll see what happens.
I'll do anything, but I'm not scratching your back, Jesse.
Man. All right. Well, that's it for us. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Have a good one, PAX. Bye.